What if I told you that some of the most beautiful plants sitting quietly at your local nursery are not decorations, but long-term disasters waiting for the right moment to explode? That the glossy leaves, the bright flowers, the promise of fast growth and easy beauty are sometimes just camouflage. While you plan your dream landscape and imagine peaceful mornings with coffee on the porch, certain plants are preparing for something very different. They are preparing to spread, to suffocate, to crack foundations, to poison soil, and to outlive every attempt you make to control them. Stick around, because number 12 on this list is a prehistoric survivor that has endured for millions of years and does not fear your shovel. And number 15 is so aggressive, it can turn open land into an armed fortress of thorns in just a few seasons. Here are 15 of the most dangerous plants you should never buy from nurseries, ranked from deceptively troublesome to truly catastrophic. Number 1. Butterfly bush. At first glance, butterfly bush seems like a hero of the garden. Its long cones of purple, pink, or white flowers draw in butterflies like magnets, creating a scene that feels alive and magical. But beneath that beauty lies a silent expansion strategy. A single mature shrub can release thousands of tiny seeds into the wind, scattering them far beyond your yard. Those seeds settle into riverbanks, forest edges, and neglected corners, where they sprout quickly and grow aggressively. Within a few seasons, butterfly bush can crowd out native shrubs that wildlife actually depend on for survival. While adult butterflies sip its nectar, their caterpillars cannot feed on it, meaning the plant offers only part of what nature needs. In some regions, entire hillsides have been overtaken by dense thickets of this shrub, blocking sunlight from native plants and altering habitats permanently. Gardeners plant it for color and movement, but soon find seedlings appearing in cracks, beds, and neighboring properties. Removing it requires constant deadheading before seeds mature, and even then the soil may already be seeded with future invaders. What seemed like a gift to wildlife becomes a long-term ecological burden that spreads far beyond the garden fence. Number 2. Mint. Mint smells refreshing, tastes wonderful in tea, and looks harmless in a small nursery pot. That is precisely how it deceives gardeners. Once planted in open soil, mint begins sending runners in every direction, both across the surface and beneath it. Within a single growing season, it can double or triple its territory. By the second year, it begins choking out neighboring herbs, creeping into vegetable beds, and popping up where you never intended it to grow. Pulling it often makes the situation worse, because small root fragments left behind regenerate into new plants. Mint does not politely share space. It dominates. Gardeners who once wanted just a handful of leaves for cooking suddenly find themselves managing a mint monoculture. It thrives in sun or partial shade, tolerates neglect, and rebounds quickly after cutting. Even containers are not always safe, as roots escape through drainage holes and anchor into surrounding soil. Over time, the fresh fragrance that once felt inviting becomes a reminder of a decision that cannot easily be undone. Mint is not evil, but planted carelessly, it transforms from kitchen companion into relentless occupier. Number 3. Wisteria. When wisteria blooms, it looks like something out of a dream. Cascading clusters of violet flowers hang from vines that twist gracefully around pergolas and arches. For a few years, everything feels magical. Then the vine thickens. Wisteria is not a delicate climber. It is a constrictor. Its woody stems grow heavier and stronger each season, tightening around whatever supports them. Wooden beams begin to warp. Metal railings bend. Trees used as supports can become girdled and slowly suffocated. The vine continues climbing upward, reaching rooftops, sliding beneath shingles, and wrapping around gutters. What was once a decorative accent becomes structural stress. Beyond its strength, wisteria also spreads through seeds and underground runners, meaning new vines begin appearing where none were planted. Pruning becomes a seasonal battle, sometimes multiple times per year, simply to keep growth from becoming destructive. The flowers remain breathtaking, which makes the decision to remove it emotionally difficult. But beauty does not equal gentleness. Wisteria grows with a force that ignores boundaries, and if not managed with discipline and strength, it can quite literally pull your garden architecture apart piece by piece. Number 4. Purple loosestrife. Its tall spikes of vivid purple flowers make wetlands look enchanted, which is exactly why so many gardeners once embraced it. Purple loosestrife thrives in moist soil, along ponds and drainage areas where other ornamentals struggle. But this plant produces an astonishing number of seeds, and those seeds travel easily by water and wildlife. Once established near streams or marshy ground, it forms dense stands so thick that native wetland plants disappear. These natives are not just decoration. They provide food and shelter for birds, insects, and amphibians. When purple loosestrife dominates, biodiversity collapses. What remains is a field of uniform color with little ecological value. In many regions, it is now heavily restricted because of the damage it has caused to natural habitats. Gardeners may only see vibrant blossoms in summer, but beyond the fence line, entire ecosystems can be reshaped by its persistence. Control requires repeated removal before seeds mature, and even then dormant seeds in soil can sprout years later. What appears to be a harmless flowering accent can become a long-term environmental crisis. Number 5. Bamboo. Few plants promise privacy as quickly as bamboo. Its tall, elegant canes sway peacefully, creating a living wall that seems both modern and serene. The problem lies underground. Running varieties of bamboo spread through thick rhizomes that travel far beyond where they were planted. These underground stems can push under fences, beneath patios, and through weak cracks in concrete. New shoots may appear dozens of feet away from the original clump. Cutting the visible canes does nothing to stop the hidden network below. Even small sections of rhizome left in soil regenerate into new growth. Over time, bamboo can infiltrate lawns, invade neighboring yards, and destabilize hardscape structures. Specialized root barriers are required to contain it, installed deep and without gaps. Without them, bamboo becomes a multi-year containment project that demands constant vigilance. What once seemed like a peaceful screen can transform into an underground invasion that respects no property line. Number 6. English ivy. English ivy drapes over brick walls and tree trunks with an elegance that feels timeless. It remains green year-round, thriving where other plants struggle. Yet its method of climbing is quietly destructive. Small aerial roots attach tightly to surfaces, working into tiny cracks in mortar, wood, and bark. Over time, these attachments widen crevices and weaken structures. On trees, thick mats of ivy block sunlight from leaves and add significant weight to branches, increasing the risk of breakage during storms. As ivy matures, it produces berries that birds consume, spreading seeds into gutters, rooftops, and distant trees. Soon, ivy appears in places you never planted it. Removal is labor-intensive and often reveals hidden damage beneath its cover. The plant that once made your home look charming can slowly compromise the very surfaces it decorates. Number 7. Morning glory. Morning glory flowers open with delicate beauty each sunrise, displaying soft hues that feel cheerful and innocent. But many varieties grow with unstoppable enthusiasm. Their vines twist around fences, shrubs, and vegetables, climbing rapidly toward sunlight. As they grow, they block light from the plants beneath them, weakening and sometimes killing their hosts. Beneath the soil, some species develop deep, persistent roots that regenerate after cutting. Each plant produces numerous seeds that can remain viable in soil for years, waiting for disturbance to awaken them. Gardeners often underestimate how quickly a few seedlings can transform into a tangled mass that overtakes beds and borders. Pulling vines becomes a repetitive chore season after season. What began as a charming splash of color becomes a web of stems that refuses to disappear. Number 8. Tree of Heaven. Despite its uplifting name, Tree of Heaven is notorious for aggressive behavior. It grows rapidly in poor soil, cracks in pavement, and neglected spaces. Its root system spreads widely, sending up suckers far from the main trunk. Cutting the tree often triggers a surge of new shoots from the roots, multiplying the problem. Even more concerning, this tree releases chemicals into the soil that inhibit the growth of other plants nearby. It competes not just physically, but chemically. Seeds are produced in large numbers and carried by wind, allowing it to colonize disturbed areas with ease. Over time, dense clusters can form, crowding out native trees and altering landscapes. Homeowners who attempt removal often find themselves managing repeated regrowth. It is resilient, adaptable, and persistent in a way that turns small oversight into long-term struggle. Number 9. Kudzu. Kudzu is infamous for a reason. This fast-growing vine can extend astonishing distances in a single season, climbing over trees, fences, and abandoned structures alike. It blankets everything in thick foliage, cutting off sunlight and suffocating whatever lies beneath. Nodes along its vines can root into soil, forming new anchor points that strengthen its hold. Once established, it becomes incredibly difficult to eradicate because roots grow deep and regrow vigorously after cutting. Landscapes overtaken by kudzu appear frozen beneath a green tide. While originally introduced for erosion control and ornamental purposes, its unchecked spread transformed large areas into monocultures. Removing it requires persistence over multiple years, often combining mechanical and chemical methods. What seems like rapid coverage for bare ground can escalate into ecological dominance. Number 10. Japanese knotweed. Japanese knotweed grows with startling speed, sending up bamboo-like stems that can reach impressive heights in a single season. Underground, an extensive rhizome system spreads laterally and deeply, capable of penetrating small cracks in pavement and foundations. Once established, it can damage driveways, walls, and drainage systems. Attempting to dig it out often fragments the rhizomes, and even small pieces can regenerate. Cutting it back only stimulates regrowth from stored energy below ground. In some areas, its presence can reduce property value due to the difficulty and expense of removal. Dense stands shade out native vegetation and leave soil vulnerable during winter dieback. This plant does not merely occupy space, it transforms it. Number 11. Bishop's weed. Bishop's weed is often sold as a solution for difficult shady spots. Its variegated leaves brighten dark corners, spreading quickly to create uniform ground cover. The speed that makes it attractive is also what makes it dangerous. Underground rhizomes travel outward, and any fragment left behind during removal regenerates. Over time, Bishop's weed forms dense carpets that exclude other plants entirely. Attempting to reclaim invaded beds becomes a painstaking process of digging and sifting soil for roots. Many gardeners discover too late that what looked like a tidy solution becomes an enduring commitment to control. Number 12. Horsetail. Horsetail looks ancient because it is. This plant traces its lineage back millions of years, surviving massive shifts in climate and geography. Its deep rhizomes penetrate soil far below the reach of ordinary digging. When disturbed, they fragment easily, each piece capable of sprouting again. The plant's stems contain high levels of silica, giving them a tough, almost abrasive texture. Traditional herbicides often struggle to penetrate its waxy exterior. It thrives in damp, compacted soil and quickly reclaims ground after disturbance. Gardeners who attempt to eliminate it frequently describe a cycle of temporary victory followed by inevitable return. Horsetail's resilience is not accidental. It is evolutionary. You are not fighting a seasonal weed. You are confronting a botanical survivor that has outlived extinction events. Number 13. Russian olive. Russian olive appears graceful with silvery leaves and fragrant blossoms. It tolerates poor soil and harsh climates, which made it popular in challenging landscapes. Yet it alters soil conditions by fixing nitrogen, shifting nutrient balances in ways that favor its own growth. Birds spread its seeds widely, establishing new trees along waterways and open fields. Dense thickets can form, displacing native vegetation and reducing habitat diversity. Once established, removal often requires cutting and treating stumps to prevent resprouting. The qualities that make it tough and adaptable also make it disruptive in natural ecosystems. What seemed like a hardy ornamental becomes a persistent colonizer. Number 14. Chameleon plant. Chameleon plant boasts striking leaves splashed with red, cream, and green, making it irresistible in nursery displays. Planted in the ground, however, it reveals its true nature. Underground rhizomes spread rapidly and break apart easily, each fragment capable of producing a new shoot. Attempts at removal often scatter pieces that multiply the infestation. It thrives in moist soil and partial shade, forming dense patches that crowd out neighboring plants. Some gardeners are also surprised by its strong odor when crushed. Over time, beds intended for diverse plantings become dominated by this single species. Control demands persistence and, in severe cases, removal of contaminated soil. The vibrant foliage that once seemed charming becomes a reminder of how quickly ground cover can become ground conquest. Number 15. Black locust. Black locust stands at the top of this list because it combines many of the most dangerous traits into one formidable tree. It grows rapidly, produces sharp thorns, and spreads aggressively through root suckers. A single tree can generate numerous shoots at considerable distances, forming expanding colonies. It also fixes nitrogen, altering soil chemistry in ways that benefit its own growth, while disadvantaging native species adapted to leaner soils. Cutting the tree often stimulates even more vigorous suckering. Over time, open land can become dense stands of thorny trunks that are difficult and hazardous to clear. While its wood is valued for durability, its spreading habit can overwhelm landscapes. Black locust does not politely remain where planted. It advances outward year after year, turning management into an ongoing commitment. Gardening is an act of hope. Every seed we plant carries intention, beauty, and expectation. But wisdom means understanding not only what to plant, but what to avoid. Some species grow beyond our control, altering soil, structures, and ecosystems in ways that outlast a single season of enthusiasm. Nature is powerful, and that power deserves respect. When we choose carefully, we work in harmony with the land rather than against it, and in doing so, we protect not just our gardens, but the living world entrusted to our care.